So they set up for this race, the culmination of the points from the weekend, and we'll take a look at the grid very, very soon. It's going to have some of the usual fast guys that would be up the front have had a messy weekend. They've got to do it from the back still.
Yeah, look, it's been a tough weekend for a few of the guys. As we mentioned before, Trent Young, Kyle Clues, these guys are normally you'd see them at the front of the field, but look, they'll fight their way through. It's been a relatively incident-free weekend as far as these guys actually go. We've seen some fantastic racing. Hopefully we can continue that here into race 4.
Glad you said it, not me. So I put the commentary curse on this. Trent Young, look at the traffic ahead for him as the cars put some heat into the tyres, and albeit it's very hot outside, the tyres will be very, very cold, not up to racing temperature yet.
Yeah, compared to the conditions we saw yesterday morning, it was a much cooler track condition than we had yesterday. As you just mentioned there, it's very hot, very humid already here this morning. Feeling sorry for those guys in the V8 supercars this afternoon, but look, these guys are getting ready. It's the last race of the weekend for them. These guys want to get out and press, but most importantly, they want to get some important championship points to kick their year off well. How important is getting the tyres up to temperature? Look, it's very important. The opening lap of any race is so critical to be able to sort of make position and hopefully not lose position. So, yeah, the warm-up lap is an important part of what happens on the opening lap. So there's your grid. Defending champ Brendan Pingle starts out of pole position with Craig Woods. They've both picked up race wins this weekend. James Duckworth, who we just rode on board with, will start out of 3. Blake Scabaris has had a very solid job down there in position 9 this weekend with Adam Casuccio. Then it was yesterday's winner, Chris Stevenson and Karen Pridmore. Adam Ubergang and Harley Haber start on the 7th row. And it's to Sam Milton, Kel Tressiter. Watch for him from 16th. 14-year-old Zach Best starts from 17. And Miles Bond completes the 20th. Then Craig Thompson and Lee Bowler down to Kyle Clues from 24th place. He's a 7-time winner here in Adelaide. Trent Young from 26th on the grid. Right down to Ruth Bowler, Reese Chapman and Emma Clark making her debut in the Aussie Racing Car Series this weekend. As you touched on there, there's a lot of guys much further back in the pack than what they would have anticipated to be at this time of the weekend. But the most important thing for these guys is to now make no mistakes. They've had their bad luck. Hopefully they've got it out of the way. They just really need to score some points, and that means stay out of trouble, especially on this opening lap. We've seen it so often here at the Clipsal 500. There's always some action usually in that opening lap. It's your ability to be able to navigate your way through, stay out of trouble, make up some positions if you can, and just get on with the race. These guys and girls never fail to deliver around here. They missed out on racing here in 2015, but back this weekend as they start their new championship. Lots to come up today. Of course, the 250k Clipsal 500 finale later on this afternoon. The Touring Car Masters and the Stadium Super Trucks. I'm sure you caught Matt Mingay's big incident yesterday. I did. I actually had a chat to Matt earlier this morning, and look, he's a little bit bruised and feeling a little bit sore. But look, great job by the guys. They've got that car back on track for today. And look, those Stadium trucks, they are so strong. Any other car in any other category, you'd be putting it in the truck and sending it back and hopefully trying to rebuild it in time for the next race meeting. Those guys, in the space of 24 hours, they've turned it around. It's, I wouldn't say it's brand new, but he'll be back out there again and looking to make redemption. You'd say it's race ready. That's about it. That's not brand new. That wheel come off yesterday. We'll catch those guys later on today. As the cars take to the grid right now. So as we said, Pingle and Woods on the front row. Watch down the field for the likes of Kel Tressiter. Right down the back, we've got Kyle Clues and Trent Young pretty much towards the back of the field. There is Clues in the Darrell Lee Sticks entry. Right at the back of the pit straight here at the Adelaide Street Circuit. Trent Young, familiar spot for him this weekend, right at the back here. It's the first time in the last 2 races he hasn't had to negotiate the last corner before the start of the race. Watch for him at the back. 5 seconds being displayed to this field of Aussie racing cars for the final time in Adelaide in 2016. It's lights out and a brilliant start from Pingle, who will get the advantage here on the run down, but Woods is going to glue himself to the side. He'll have the better line going to the turn 1, but Pingle will lead us through over the curb. Oh, he just pulls it up in time. That could have been messy. That was a nasty run through turn 1, but it's surprising that he actually managed to, if anything, pull out a bit more of a gap. I think he'll be trying to sort of gather the heartbeat back up and just now focus on trying to stretch out this little bit of an advantage that he's got, and hopefully these guys in P2 and 3 can sort of hold each other up and he can stretch that advantage. These defensive lines that I'd see on the final lap, not the first lap, Woods was right against the wall on the right-hand side, trying to defend it from James Duckworth.
in third position here.
The stewards will give you a little bit of leeway in the opening sort of lap and the last couple of laps to be probably a little bit more defensive than what you really should be throughout the duration of the race. So that's what he's trying to do on this opening lap. He's trying to, you don't want to be losing position, as we spoke about before. You need to gain position on that opening lap, and that's basically what he's trying to do. Defend as hard as he can, focus on catching up back onto the back of Pingle's car, and get on with the rest of the race.
Trent Young, we keep an eye on him on our screens, has made up 6 positions already. Passing down the bottom into the hairpin, that's Ubergang going through. Albeit not that clean, the Ubergang transport entry works his way around the back to turn 10 and 11, a big downhill section of the Adelaide Street Circuit. So they're all settled down at the moment at the front. There was a big wake-up for Brendan Pingle hitting the curbs there in the centre chicane, not once but twice. He will lead us through at the end of lap 1, and Ubergang is just slicing through the field like this guy, Trent Young, who's up to 14th place. So that's 12 cars in 1 lap.
As you said earlier, if this guy had $1 for every car that he's passed in the last 3 races, he'd be doing really well. But look, it's a great effort by him, and as we spoke about, it's just about getting that championship back on track, get as many cars as he can, and get close to the front again.
Oh, here's Duckworth. These cars really feel the bumps, much more than the bigger cars around the Adelaide Street Circuit. He moves up to 2nd place now and begins the charge on Brendan Pingle, defending Aussie Racing Cars champion from last year. Was very good in race number 2. I just fear he's going to get away from the field.
Yeah, look, he's trying to extend that advantage, because if he can break that sort of freight train to the cars behind, it really helps his race. Here we are on board. Bogged down a little bit, but didn't seem to hurt too much. When the guy on the other side of the road gets an even worse start than you, it always makes life a lot easier, because the run down here into turn 1, being on the outside, whilst it's meant to be the advantage, it's not usually always that way.
In a front row seat watching Pingle go across the curbs. Oh, this will be epic. He was already sideways. The Spirit of Lockyer Valley entry.
That is almost full lock in one of these. That's an amazing effort to not only be able to sort of gather it up at the first part, but watch it react to these curves. It's landed once, and now comes the big one, because there's a front on edge of this curb here. As he hits it, launches the car again, and from this point, he really is just a passenger. The most important thing he needs to do here is just keep focused on where he wants to position the car. Don't be too hard on the throttle when it lands, and then get back on with it. That was a great example of Brendan Pingle there, of what to do when you get in trouble.
More action down the field. Oh, no, you can see that coming, couldn't you?
Too hot, and broken front suspension there on the number 89.
Casuccio involved. He was involved in an incident, and the 89 now leaking fluid. That's down the turn 9 hairpin, and Lexus safety car is called.
The one thing that Brendan Pingle doesn't want to see at this point of the final race on the Sunday is a safety car.
It's David Sultana, a rookie this year, karting star, and a long way back. Casuccio wouldn't have even seen that coming.
No, look, he's tried to put a pass on the car that he was battling with, but kind of got a little bit deep and a little bit far ahead of himself, locked up, and unfortunately was a passenger from there on.
So this is Woods and Duckworth. Now Woods does the Brendan Pingle impersonation and gets all 4 wheels off the deck. Lands it down, and Duckworth just waiting to see what happens. Where's he going to come out? Do I need to back out?
He's having his own little moment as the car's getting all sideways through there. But look, in no other category can you even contemplate going through that first chicane too wide. And these guys religiously do it lap after lap and get away with it. It makes for some great racing.
So we'll go back in the rows of 2 here for the restart. Shouldn't take too long, maybe a lap or so.
The thing for these guys to now consider is, will this now become a time-certain race, and how many laps are they going to lose? So you can see the guys weaving around there, trying to keep their tyre temperatures up, because, again, like the start of the race, the restart is critical for being able to sort of push on.
Well, the cars cruise around in the rows of 2. Brendan Pingle is the leader at the moment. Early this weekend, Kylie King caught up with the 2015 champ.
So we've been in the Aussie racing cars now this is our 6th year now, and yeah, we started off in a lease car for 2 years, and we managed 7th and then 5th in our first 2 years, which we're pretty happy with, to be inside the top 10 straight up. And then last year well, the year before last we finished up 2nd, so obviously we knew there was one more spot to go, and we were hell-bent on getting there. We obviously travelled over to New Zealand straight up last year, so it was an early start to the year. Grabbed my first pole position ever, So we were pretty pumped, you know, great start, and first race got taken out first lap. Over 9 hours worth of damage to repair, and new diff, new bodywork, and patching together like a drift car, stitching her up. But no, we got her back on track, put her down on the ground as the sun set, and next day went out, broke the lap record, and actually still ended up third for the round. So she was pretty hectic start. And continued on to a number of different tracks we hadn't been to, like Darwin, and we finished pretty well on podium every round, except for Homebush and Tassie. Just 2 tracks where things were very, very hectic, and we really didn't need to push our luck, so we just played it a bit conservative, and consistent wins and podiums sort of got us the number 1 spot. I believe the biggest points margin at the end of the year was 10 points, and we smashed it by 33. So, no, we're stoked. First Queenslanders to win the series as well in 18 years. So, no, we're really happy to have the number 1 on the car this year and represent the Lockie Valley.
It was really a tough championship last year, went right down to the last round, as he said. It's been a tough week for the Pringle family and the team. They lost one of their great long-time supporters in Steve Jones, who's the mayor of the Lockyer Valley, who sadly passed away in the lead-up to this event. He dedicated his race win to Steve Jones. Now watch this. So the yellow flag coming up, and this is on board with Duckworth. He's going to go past. He's side by side with Pringle here. And we did see this actually change, is what got my attention on the screen. So they'll keep an eye on that. Of course, that's an absolute no-no. Once the Lexus safety car comes out, you're basically pressing pause until further notice.
The important thing to remember is that until you pass the next line of yellow flags, that's where basically the race needs to neutralise from. So if you're in a dice with someone, even if you see the yellow flags up ahead, you've got to actually get to that imaginary line across the track before the race is then neutralised. So it's an easy mistake to make. Hopefully for Brendan Pringle, it's not one that's going to cost him position.
Busy times for you coming up as they clean up down at turn number 9 now. Our hard-working crew have been out in some pretty horrid conditions over the past 3 days. Today it's just really humid and sticky. You can even feel it up here in our commentary position. But you've got a busy couple of weeks coming up, haven't you? Yeah,
look, we've got the Melbourne Grand Prix in a couple of weeks where I'll be down there doing some more driver coaching with the McElroy Racing guys in both Carrera Cup and then GT. Then off to Asia for 4 days doing some coaching up there with guys in the Asia Carrera Cup. So heading up to Shanghai for a bit of fun up there, and then straight back down for Shannon's Nationals at Sandown.
You haven't been racing this weekend, but you've been very busy behind the scenes.
Yeah, very busy. It's good fun, and obviously down in HRT, it was great to see James and all the guys at HRT enjoy a win there yesterday. So we'll be down there again this afternoon, cheering them on, and hopefully we can get both cars on the podium today.
Warren Luff in commentary for this one, the final race of the weekend of the Aussie Racing Car Super Series. Lexus safety car should be going in this lap as the fans find a shady spot around this Adelaide street circuit. In the rows of 2. Should get 1 lap in here, you'd think. We're heading towards time certain land. Duckworth and Pringle. Look at Woods. He wants to get on with it already.
Most importantly, Pingle's going to be on the inside for the run down to turn 1. That's the side of the track that you want to be on. The most important thing for Duckworth is he doesn't want to get hung out wide and be forced out over that curb and lose a couple of spots on the run up to turn 4.
Coming up to the line, and Pingle's left him napping. They come back to take the green flag. It's going to be a 1-lap screamer in the Aussie Racing Car Super Series, and they're bumping on the main straight here. Watch the centre chicane. This is going to be crucial on the final lap. Oh, again, Pringle. This time it's the opposite side of the track.
He's launched through there hard again. Again, he's managed to get away with it. As you said, it's a 1-lap screamer now. He needs to get his head down and get out of there. These guys behind are going to be all over the back of him. And again, looking for that draft onto the back straight for a run down to turn 9.
So Trent Young, from middle to the back of the pack, is inside the top 10. He's up to 8th. He'll be 7th position by the time he gets to Hutt Street. And Duckworth setting himself nicely up on the back of our defending champ. This is going to be a thriller down to turn 8.
He didn't get the best run onto the back straight. Launching it out over the outside curve is going to hurt him, but he's basically trying to look for a draft down the back straight here and hopefully try and make a move down at turn 9. This is where all the action is going to happen, down here under brakes.
Important, he's got through there nicely. Pringle goes to the defensive, the cars fan out. Oh man, it's on for 3rd and 4th. Walsh wants third position. Locker breaks. Oh! Woods gets into Duckworth, and he's going to get second position here.
Most important, that's helped Pingle. He's been able to sort of stretch that advantage. As long as he can stay out of trouble in these last few corners, the race win should be his.
Watch Adam Ubergang. He suddenly snuck into this as well. He's fifth. He could get fourth by the time it gets to the Adelaide hairpin. It was really go time with this. 1 lap to go. Oh, Walsh squirms his way up to the hairpin, but Brendan Pingle is going to pick up 2 wins on the streets of Adelaide. Winner of race number 4 of the Aussie racing cars here this weekend. Woods is second, Duckworth third, Walsh just ahead of Ubergang. And Young, 6th position. Can you believe that?
I tell you what, I'd love to watch his onboard from the weekend to see how many cars he has actually passed. That's a fantastic effort. But look, full credit to Brendan Pingle. That was a classic masterclass of what to do on a 1-lap restart. He put his head down, he charged on hard, he tried to extend that advantage and just stayed out of trouble. Fantastic result.
The trademark victory celebrations of the Aussie racing cars here. They go 3 wide as a salute to the fans here at the Adelaide Street Circuit. Great weekend for Brendan Pingle. Keeps his championship defence. He'll win the weekend here. Woods second, Duckworth third. Walsh was fourth, and Ubergang up to fifth. Cal Tressiter got to 10th as well in that one. Harley Haber down in 13th. But it's all about Brendan Pingle this weekend. 2 wins from 4 races. Just under a second ahead of Woods, Duckworth, Walsh, Ubergang, Young, Fraser, Ludby, Bond, and Tressiter. Good job to Miles Bond there. Then it was Stevenson, Brendan Tucker, Harley Haber, Blake Scaberis down to Kyle Clues in 16th. Sam Milton also inside the top 20. McNamara down to Brad Eastman, Reece Chapman and Scott Hookey